The Snapmaker.
Snapmaker.
The Snapmaker is the machine over there that Chris is leaning on. This is we got donated by Raoul, who many people remember, a Snapmaker Model 2 A350, which is a combined 3D printer, laser cutter, and CNC machine. We've got one with an enclosure, as you can see, and it comes with a set of software called Luban, which I'm going to talk about. And there's even an online manual at this location here. The online manual is directly translated from the Chinese, so it's sometimes a bit interesting to try and understand it. So as I said, donated by Raoul slightly less than a year ago.
Yeah.
It's hooked up to the extractor fan on the red laser side, so if you're using it, you have to swap the shutters over so that you can get the extraction to work.
That was just for the laser cutter.
And myself and Andy investigated it and did some stuff. We converted it to use the laser mode, and we now have a manual for how to use it in laser mode and a maintenance book. These are normally kept on the Snapmaker itself, so if you want to understand how to do stuff in detail, that's the stuff to look at. So the Snapmaker has installed at the moment a 1.6 watt blue laser. Now, of course, the big laser is 60 watts, so this is not quite as powerful as the big laser. It's good for engraving, absolutely useless for cutting anything. You can't cut anything thicker than card. But because it's a blue laser, it can engrave on surfaces that the infrared can't. So metal and stuff, for example. But despite the fact it's only 1.6 watts, it is still a dangerous piece of machinery. Unlike the blue laser cutter, you can run the Snapmaker with the enclosure completely open. Please don't do that. In addition to having the sort of standard laser, this laser head has a camera module in it so that we can take pictures of what's on the bed, which is very good for lining things up. I'll show you that in a moment. The other thing it has is a slotted metal bed. So that's the thing it's got is a metal thing like a heat sink with slots in it. Okay, so when you're using the Snapmaker, keep the enclosure closed and wear the fashionable laser glasses. These are the ones that came with the Snapmaker. Remember, safety, safety, safety. So this is what's in the Snapmaker. You can see we've got this gantry, which the whole level there goes up and down to control the Z-axis, and then the thing moves across to control the X-axis. And then the bed moves backwards and forwards to control the Y-axis. Down the back here, we've got this controller, and the controller has got these various slots on it for how it controls the various bits and pieces. But the fact the bed moves backwards and forwards, oh no, wrong order. So it also has this touch screen thing, which is on like a cord, but it looks like an iPhone. When you start it, it says make something wonderful, and you have to swipe left to get to the control thing. But that means that we've got 3 different ways of actually running the thing. We've got the Luban software, which can control the Snapmaker directly. We can also send G-code from the Luban software to the memory on the controller, and then control the work by the touchscreen, or you can plug a USB stick in to download the files onto the controller and control it from the touchscreen. The thing I'm going to show is controlling it from Luban, which is actually the easiest of those 3 to use. Now, as I'm sure you're all familiar, we've got all these different file types that we use for doing things. Because the Snapmaker is a laser cutter, a 3D printer, and an X-carve, a CNC, it actually uses all of these different file types, but for doing different things. So what I'm going to focus on is just the laser bit up here. So the 2D vector files and editing those and sending them to the laser cutter. In our case, the Snapmaker, not the red laser. So we've got a variety of tools we can use to edit the 2D vector files. Obviously Inkscape is one that a lot of people use. We've got multiple versions of Inkscape. You could also use things like CorelDRAW, Illustrator. There's a whole load of tools for doing that. You then need to send a file to the Snapmaker in one of a variety of formats. Unlike the blue laser, the Snapmaker does understand SVG. So you're best to use SVG when you're sending stuff. And you send that to the Luban Software, or you send it to Lightburn if you've bought a copy of Lightburn. I don't believe anybody has, but just in case.
I'm confused. Which one is blue and which one is red laser?
That's the blue laser.
It's blue.
Well, it's in a blue box, right?
Oh, I see you mean blue box.
The blue box. We're not talking about the laser. No, the
black laser has the red light in it.
the black laser has the blue light. The blue laser has the infrared light in it.
Has the red light in it.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. So the big laser. Okay, so I really should call it the CTR 35.
Let's stick with blue and black ones.
No, blue is easier. The big one, yeah, the big laser.
Blue, red and black now. So.
Okay, so this is the 3 stages, as we talked about before. You design stuff, you then transfer the file, and then you control the process. So what I said before, the bed moves backwards and forwards. So if you don't secure stuff to the bed, when the bed moves, your piece jiggles.
Yeah.
And this is a problem that Andy and I came across.
We did indeed.
And what the solution to that is, you get some pieces of foam board and just stuff them in the holes. That's enough to keep the workpiece steady.
Is the bed magnetic? Can you put magnets?
I have no idea. I found some foam board and stuffed it in the holes. It's like that. Done. I don't need to do any more than that. So we need to do that before we...
It then moves with the floor.
Exactly.
And
So
it's
that...
supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it moves with the floor. So here's the Luban software. This is open source software, so you can go to GitHub and you can get copies of it, which means that it runs on Windows or on Linux. The user interface is, the phrase I've used, a bit strange.
Yeah.
We found this a little bit interesting. So to take one example, the scroll bars, the blue area here has its own scroll bar, and the yellow area has its own scroll bar, and the overall window has its own scroll bar. So you've got multiple scroll bars down the down the right hand
Didn't
side.
spend enough money on the GUI side.
And what's worse than that, if you scroll the red scroll bar, then when you click on something, it thinks the mouse position is different than it is because the scroll bar has moved the window underneath. So this caused us quite a bit of confusion when we were trying to work out what's going on.
I said it's like designed by engineers for engineers.
Yes.
Because it lacks
No,
some
they
of
needed
those-
more people to go over it, and accountants and something in there.
That's right.
So the pop-up help text is usually fairly useful, but it shows the fact that it's directly translated from the Chinese. So sometimes you see a piece of pop-up help text and you're like, what is that trying to say? The workflow is a little bit odd. I'll come back to that. The software is available from this location here, snapmaker.com. Now be careful, there's another piece of software for controlling 3D printers called Luban, but that's paid software, and the Luban logo they've got is all colourful. Don't touch that with a barge pole.
Yeah, that probably will include support. But,
Okay, so you run up your Luban software, and then you click on the laser mode, and that takes you to the laser mode screen here. The green area shows you the graphical objects you've got. Down in the orange area down there is a list of all of the objects you've got in the green area. And if you click on one, like here I've clicked on the word Snapmaker, then this edit window shows you properties. So for example, if I edit the text in here, that'll change the text in the green area. So that's how you mess with things. And then normal tools down the left-hand side, for doing various bits and pieces.
and you can import separate images and files.
You can,
onto the
yeah, exactly.
as well.
So useful option here is the camera capture module at the top. If you click on that, what it does is it takes 9 pictures of the bed, so you can see your workpiece in the bed. Very useful for exactly positioning when you want to put something in, like an extra engrave in between 2 other engraves or
That's
whatever.
a 3x3 shot, and then they'll literally stitch it together.
So this is it. This is an example of it stitched together. You can see the bed there, and then you see the little foam things, and then the graphics objects are putting where it's going to put them onto the stuff underneath. So that's quite a useful feature. That's only in the 1.6 watt head. If one option we could do is, if we want to be able to cut things on the Snapmaker, then we could get a more powerful head. But we're probably not going to do that because we have we have the possibility of getting a donated replacement for the red laser.
Yeah, we're waiting to hear. Back
That's
from
the laser in the red box. Okay, so we add the background. We've basically got 2 types of objects we can have in here. Oh, no, let me talk about the process first. So we've got 4 layers we need to talk about. We've got the graphical objects over there, which we've seen in the display. Then there are these things called toolpaths. Toolpaths are very much like layers in RDWorks. So they all have common settings for the power and the speed and stuff like that. But that grabs a whole load of graphical objects and says, this is what I want to do with them. This is how I want to render them. And then there's the G code, which is generated from the toolpaths, and then the machine. Now, these bits you can do in the laser work area. You can edit the graphical objects, you can create the toolpaths, you can create the G code. But once you've got the G code, you have to move it to a thing they call the Workspace, which is a completely different work area that looks almost identical. In exactly what Andy was saying about being designed by engineers. And then from the Workspace, you have the option to then directly implement that job on the Snapmaker itself. So we've got 2 types of graphical objects. There's the shapes, these come from SVG files, and the bitmaps. Obviously with a bitmap, we can import a bitmap. Obviously all we're talking about is the power level here. So essentially it converts the bitmap to a black and white. And then it has a variety of methods for interpreting that bitmap. And you get to pick which of these methods they're going to use to interpret. I'm not going to talk about what those are. If you want to know what they are, they're described in the manual. Okay, so once you're happy with all the graphics, then you select this process over here rather than edit, and you can generate the toolpaths for a selected set of graphics over there. And the toolpaths let you define how you want to implement this. Do you want it to fill? Do you want to outline it? Do you want to do it as a black and white thing? And then some parameters like the power that you want to use. You can see this is on a laser power of 100%, and those types of features.
And just like RD Works, you can mix and match different toolpaths depending on the objects you've got.
Right.
on
The one thing I would recommend, it will create a name for you like toolpath number 62. The moment you see this, change that name to something meaningful, because otherwise you're going to have a list of names down here that mean absolutely nothing, and of course it does them in the order that they've got here. So if you change those names to something meaningful, then your life will be far easier going forward. Okay, so after we've got all the toolpaths we want, there was a button on the previous screen that said generate the G code. And that generates the G code. And here I've moved that G code to the workspace. You see the difference? See how this is completely different? It's doing a different function. Because this is connected to the Snapmaker, I've got the option to either save this G code to the Snapmaker, and then I can use the touchscreen to run it, or to run the job from here, which is what I'm going to be doing. Run the job from here, downloads it to the Snapmaker, and starts the process running. This is the workspace when we're in the middle of running it. It colours things in this bluish colour as it completes them, so you can see how far through the job you are. It also gives you a summary here of how far through the G code it thinks you are. Of course, like all these estimates, it's sometimes okay and sometimes isn't.
The run, doesn't it?
It varies throughout the run. There is a stop button here, but beware, this is a stop button written by software engineers. So when you click on stop, it doesn't stop. It says, "Are you sure you want to stop?" So do not be
When
fooled.
it stops, does it actually shut the laser off, or does it just stop it?
Stops the laser off. Okay, so we run it through, and as we run it, here's a video of us making a particular thing. We're actually making this thing here. There you go, and you can see the piece of wood is held by those foam things. This is doing the bitmap scanning for the little bitmap we got over here, which everybody should recognise. You can see it's relatively quick because it's a relatively small bitmap. But when we come to this thing here, it does a scan thing to fill it, and that actually takes quite a long time. So what I've done is I've sped up the time by a factor of 4. So we can see that's done that, and this is now doing this thing. Because this has got quite a long way to go each time, it actually takes quite a bit of time to do. And then after it's done that, it'll then do the outline, and then it'll do the shape around the outside. So there we
You
go.
can set the order in which it does those parts.
When it's got that list of things in the toolpath, that's the order that it does it.
And
It's
you can
just
set
like
the power as well, kind of thing.
that within each toolpath you can go. So if you've defined stuff in a toolpath as a layer, and you decide, oh no, I want to change the power, if you double click on the toolpath, it'll bring up that dialogue it had
So
at
like
the beginning.
the blue laser, you can cut things a bit deeper, then you can possibly cut it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you've got to select the
exactly.
object first, and
Yeah.
then
You can
change the.
Seems you can make a raster scan and a vector scan
So it
in
does.
the same program.
Yes, yeah, that's what I've got here. Is it's done? So it's now doing the vector around the outside, and now I've set it back so it's doing it at real speed, and you can see it's slowly doing this thing around the box around the outside, and that's the real speed it's running. So, I mean, you know, it does take, if you're doing big filled areas, it does take quite a long time. And as I said, the outline here was at 100%, so that is as hard as the laser will go. I mean, obviously I was a little bit fast, but it's basically the maximum power that
Does the
that
laser
one.
have an airflow around it to stop
Yeah.
smoke contaminating it? So it don't-
And it's got the fan on it, so it pulls out stuff
Yeah,
to
it's all,
the
it's all plumbed in.
so it's all plumbed in, so that when it's doing it, it sucks the stuff. Okay, so and there we go. There's the that's how you open the front, and this is.
Is there something to signify it's properly stopped? Or just to look for the blue light being off?
It pulls the head up once it's finished,
Yeah.
so you can tell. Of course, this is out of focus, but there's the final result.
There we go, in focus.
We also, as I mentioned, we have the manual,
And that's all Steve's
and
work. That has
we
nothing to do with
we
that.
have the support book, the maintenance book, and we have the no, not the cheat sheet. This is the training stuff. So we're going to have 4 sets of training for this device: the laser, the 3D printer, the CNC, and mode. Mode is swapping from one mode to another,
Yeah, removing the heads. And
removing the head and removing the bed, and there's some stuff in the manual for doing that for the laser, but not for the other things. It's not complete for the other
Now
things.
there is a quick change kit that you could get because at the moment you've got to take all the.
You've got to
cables out.
undo them, but.
Um,
Anyway, so all we've done so far is the training for the laser module, and that's this. This is the training exercise everybody will have to do,
so this to certify you to be able to use it on your own.
so that you can use the manual.
Since it's not an interlocked laser thing, so we decided that
Yeah.
training.
Is that the heavy duty head?
Well,
No, it's not,
It's,
it's-
more than blinding light.
Yes.
There's a more powerful one. You can
Yes.
use
Oh,
that.
yeah, all right, yeah.
But because
But
we're
it's
gonna
still
be,
dangerous.
Hopefully, was one that's been donated to us. I'm waiting to hear from the guy on that, and that will be a heavy duty
Oh,
figure.
So that training I think, is going to take about 40 minutes, and bring your own laptop or computer. If you haven't got one, we can install on the shared computer. And that is the Snapmaker.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
I'm doing a training. Oh, thank you. I'm doing training on Thursday, so if anybody wants training on the Snapmaker, turn up
What time on
Thursday
Thursday?
evening,
I may have
7
a thing
o'clock.
at 7 o'clock. We're back then.
And obviously, first come, first served. So
And I have to say, documentation-wise, this is Steve's best documentation yet. Excellent, very professional.
He loves the paperwork.
If you know which metals, are there any preferred metals that it's better with?
you need to experiment. I've been told that it's okay to etch on aluminium.